Captain Olivia Russell rubbed her tired eyes and took another sip of cold coffee. The strange signal on her screen had kept the entire crew of the USS Defender awake for nearly 20 hours straight. Their ship had been checking the outer edges of the solar system when they found it, a weird repeating pattern coming from near Neptune. "Found anything yet, Diaz?" she called to her communications officer, who hadn't left his station since they first detected the signal. "Lieutenant Allen." Diaz looked up, his face showing a mix of shock and excitement. "Captain, I think it's a distress call." Russell nearly spilled her coffee. "A distress call? From who?" "Not from who, from what," Diaz said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "The math patterns are universal, but this isn't human-made. Nothing about this matches any Earth language or code." The bridge went silent. Everyone understood what this meant. "Are you saying we're picking up an alien SOS?" Russell asked, standing up. Before Diaz could answer, Science Officer Samantha Wells rushed onto the bridge. Her red hair was a mess and she clutched a tablet in her hand like it might try to escape. "Captain, I found where it's coming from." She showed Russell her screen. "There's a ship about 500,000 kilometers from us, and it's definitely not one of ours." Russell stared at the blurry image on the tablet. History was happening right now, on her watch. Humans had wondered about aliens for centuries, and now they were hearing a cry for help from the stars. "Well, we can't ignore someone who needs help, even if they aren't human," she said firmly. "Patterson, take us to that ship. Diaz, keep working on that message. Wells, get ready for first contact." As the Defender changed direction, Russell thought about Earth and its unique place in the galaxy. Scientists had started calling Earth a death world a few years back, a planet with crushing gravity, wild weather, and dangerous animals. Humans had grown tough because they had to. Maybe that was why they were here right now, answering this call. Maybe the universe needed some tough creatures sometimes. "Captain, I'm getting more details about that ship," Lieutenant Commander Greg Patterson called out from his station. "It's big, about twice our size, and it's not moving." 8 hours later, the Defender pulled alongside the alien vessel. The crew stared in amazement at their view screen. The ship looked like it was made of blue crystal. Some parts glowed with soft light, while others were dark and broken. Strange patterns covered its surface. Not random, but not something any human mind had designed. "They're not answering our calls," Diaz reported, "but that distress signal is still going strong." "Check for life signs," Russell ordered. Patterson's fingers flew over his controls. "I'm picking up several non-human life readings. But Captain, the conditions in there are extreme. Temperature is about -100 degrees Celsius. Atmosphere is mostly nitrogen and methane." "So we can't just walk in and say hello?" Russell said, frowning. "No way," Wells agreed. "We'd freeze solid in seconds. We'll need our best environmental suits with extra heating." Russell nodded. "Okay, we're going to help them. Patterson, you'll lead a rescue team. Take Wells, Diaz, and Dr. Rivera. Full suits, full heat, and stay in contact the whole time." Chief Medical Officer Maya Rivera looked up from her medical station. "Captain, we have no idea what these aliens might look like or how their bodies work. I'll bring every scanning tool we've got, but this is a shot in the dark." "Do your best," Russell told her. "That's all anyone can ask." As the rescue team prepared to board the alien ship, Russell felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. This wasn't just about saving lives anymore. This was humanity's first step into a larger universe, and they were taking that step not as conquerors or explorers, but as helpers answering a call of distress. The team gathered at the airlock, there, white environmental suits bulky with extra heating equipment. Each suit had the Earth flag on one shoulder and the United Nations Space Agency patch on the other. "Listen up," Russell told them through the comm system. "Whatever you find over there, remember you're not just 4 people anymore. You're all of Earth. Every human who ever lived or ever will has a stake in what happens next." Patterson nodded inside his helmet. "We understand, Captain." "One more thing," Russell added. "Be careful. We don't know what dangers are waiting, but I want all of you back in one piece." Rivera chuckled nervously. Don't worry, Captain, humans are hard to kill. It's one of our best features. As the team entered the airlock, Wells turned back. You know, it's kind of funny. What is? Patterson asked. Humans spent centuries wondering if aliens would be friendly or try to destroy us, Wells said. Nobody ever considered that our first contact would be us rescuing them. The outer door opened, revealing the docking tube they'd extended to the alien ship. Beyond it waited creatures no human had ever seen before, in conditions that would kill an unprotected person in minutes. Patterson took the first step. Let's go meet the neighbors. As the humans crossed into the alien vessel, none of them realized that their natural adaptations to Earth's harsh environment, what they considered normal, would soon astonish the entire galaxy. The Deathworlders had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same again. Greg Patterson led the team through the alien ship's hallways. Their suits hummed as the heating systems fought against the extreme cold. Every breath he took made a small cloud inside his helmet. These hallways are huge, Wells said as she looked up at the ceiling. Must be at least 15 feet high. And the gravity is super light, Diaz added, taking bouncy steps forward. I feel like I could jump to the ceiling if I tried. Dr. Rivera checked her medical device. I'm picking up stronger. Life signs ahead, we're getting close to them. They turned a corner and suddenly stopped. In front of them was what looked like a ship's control room. Inside were 7 tall, thin creatures huddled together. Each was about 12 feet tall with 4 limbs that split into multiple fingers at the ends. Their skin was almost see-through, showing silvery blue liquid flowing inside them. The aliens froze when they saw the humans. Their large, bug-like eyes grew even wider. Diaz stepped forward slowly with his hands up to show he meant no harm. We got your distress call. We're here to help. One of the aliens moved forward carefully. It wore what looked like special clothes with patterns that matched the ship's walls. The alien held up a small device that made musical sounds. Diaz checked his translator. I think they're asking if we're real, or if they're seeing things. Tell them we're real, Patterson said. Tell them we're humans from Earth and we came because they called for help. After Diaz translated the message, the aliens talked among themselves, making beautiful musical sounds that the translator had trouble understanding. Finally, the leader turned back to them. The translator turned its sounds into words. You survive in heavy crush world? You endure burning air? Wells smiled inside her helmet. They're talking about Earth. To them, our planet would be a death trap. Strong gravity, oxygen atmosphere, hot temperatures. Patterson nodded. Yes, he said through Diaz's translator. We come from Earth. We heard you needed help. What happened? To your ship? The alien pointed to a broken control panel. Star flare. Damaged. Cold systems. We freeze. Without cold, Rivera looked at her scanner again. I think I get it. They need extreme cold to live. What we would call a system breakdown is actually life support for them. The damage is making their ship warm up. Can we fix it? Patterson asked. Wells looked at the broken parts. I think so. Their tech is different, but the basic ideas are the same. We might be able to use some of our own equipment to make repairs. As they worked to fix the alien life support, the ship's crew watched with what seemed like amazement. Through bits of translated talk, the humans learned they were called the Crystalline Collective, a peaceful group of explorers from a moon orbiting a gas giant several light-years away. Your kind moves so fast, one alien said, watching Diaz and Wells work. Like thought itself. And you create heat inside bodies? Another asked Rivera, who was explaining how humans work. Not from outside? That's right, Rivera said. We're warm-blooded. We keep our body temperature steady from inside. The alien seemed both fascinated and scared. Strange, dangerous, wonderful. After several hours, Wells shouted with joy. I think we fixed it. The system should start cooling again now. Soon the temperature began dropping and the aliens made sounds that the humans took as thanks. The leader approached Patterson. Deathworlders saved us. We not believe. Stories of beings, surviving crush and burn worlds. Now, we see. You. Amazing. Patterson smiled, though the alien couldn't see it through his helmet. We're just doing what anyone would do, helping others who need it. The alien moved in a way that made its inner fluids create beautiful patterns. Not anyone, only strong ones, brave ones. It paused, then added, We want to learn about Deathworlders. Will you teach us? Patterson looked at his team and saw they were as excited as he was. We'd be honored, and we have much to learn from you too. As the humans set up ways to talk better with the Crystalline Collective, they didn't know that news about the Deathworlders was already spreading through space to other alien civilizations, some curious, some afraid, and some seeing a chance to make friends with these tough creatures who called a deadly environment home. The next day, Patterson sat with the alien leader in what had been set up as a meeting room. The temperature was a compromise, cold enough for the aliens but not so cold that the human suits couldn't handle it. So your people have never met others who live on planets like Earth? Patterson asked. The alien made a sound like small bells. Never. Most life forms in gentle places. Soft gravity, steady climate. Few dangers. That makes sense, Wells said, joining them. Life would have an easier time starting and growing in gentle environments. But not become strong, the alien leader added. Your kind survived challenges and became powerful. One day on Earth would kill me. Rivera laughed. And one day in your ship without a suit would kill us. I guess we each adapted to our own kind of extreme. The alien tilted its tall body, and what the humans had learned was a sign of agreement. Different paths, same result. Life finds way. Diaz, who had been studying the ship's communication system, rushed into the room. You're not going to believe this. Our conversation with the Crystalline Collective, it's been broadcasting automatically through some kind of subspace channel. We're getting responses from other alien species. Patterson stood up quickly. Friendly responses. Mostly curious, Diaz said, checking his device. But one message seems worried. They're asking if rumors of Deathworld beings are true. What should we tell them? Wells asked. The alien leader rose to its full height. Tell truth. Deathworlders came, not to harm, but to help. Patterson nodded. Diaz, send a message explaining who we are and why we're here. Make it clear we're peaceful explorers who responded to a distress call. Later that night, as the humans returned to the Defender to rest, Captain Russell called an emergency meeting. So let me understand this, she said, looking at each team member. Not only have we made first contact with aliens, but now the whole galaxy knows about us, and they're calling us Deathworlders? Yes, ma'am, Patterson replied. And it seems like it's causing quite a stir. Some are fascinated, others are scared. Russell tapped her fingers on the table. I suppose it makes sense. If your planet had no predators or extreme weather, meeting creatures who evolved to survive those things might be shocking. It's like they think we're super tough space orcs, Rivera said with a laugh. The important thing, Wells added, is that our first action was helping, not conquering. That's the message we need to spread. Just then, Diaz's communication badge beeped. His eyes widened as he read the message. Captain, he said slowly, 3 more alien ships just entered the solar system. They say they want to meet the Deathworlders. Russell stood up. Well, team, it looks like our rescue mission just turned into a first contact party. Let's show the galaxy what humans are really like. As they prepared to welcome more visitors, none of them realized this was just the beginning of Earth's grand entrance onto the galactic stage, where their normal, everyday human traits would seem like superpowers to the rest of the universe. 2 weeks after meeting the Crystalline Collective, the USS Defender had become a floating space conference center. Word about the humans, the Deathworlders who answered a distress call, had spread fast through space, and 3 more alien groups had arrived to meet these amazing beings. Captain Olivia Russell stood in the ship's main meeting room, which her crew had changed to fit the needs of their strange visitors. The crystalline collective's ambassador, now called Harmony of Frequencies by the humans, sat in a special cold area. Next to them floated a jelly-like being from the Myriad Minds, a group mind that talked by changing colors and sending electrical signals. Across the table sat a group of small, furry creatures from the Verdant Conclave. They looked a bit like Earth mammals and came from a planet with gravity like Earth's, but with much nicer weather and almost no predators. In the corner, watching everything with clear tension, was a representative of the Silicon Directorate, crystal beings who talked through vibrations and seemed disturbed by the humans' water-filled bodies. "So let me get this straight," Russell said, leaning forward. "You're all worried that we might be too dangerous?" The Verdant ambassador, soft step under leaves, twitched his whiskers nervously. "Not exactly, Captain. We are worried that you may not understand your own abilities. Your kind grew up on a planet that would kill most of us in minutes. Your bones can handle pressures that would break ours. Your bodies can fight off poisons that would melt our insides. You breathe burning, gas and drink cleaning fluid." "You mean oxygen and water?" Diaz asked, trying not to laugh. "Yes," squeaked Softstep. "What you drink to stay alive, many species use to clean their ships." Dr. Wells leaned forward, fascinated. "This explains so much about how different our technologies are. We always focused on protection from outside dangers, while you developed in places with fewer physical challenges." The Myriad Minds representative turned deep blue. The translator said, "What worries us is not just your bodies. Your kind does things we would consider almost suicidal. Your fun activities often involve taking risks on purpose. Your entertainment shows people solving problems by fighting." Russell looked at her crew members. "I promise you, we're peaceful. Yes, we've had our wars, but we've moved past them." The Silicon Directorate representative vibrated intensely. "Yet you have warships. Your crew knows how to fight. Your first reaction to danger is to face it, not run." Before Russell could answer, the ship's alarm sounded. "Captain, to the bridge," came the urgent voice of the officer on duty. "Excuse me," Russell said, standing quickly. "Commander Patterson, please continue the talks." On the bridge, Russell found Ensign Kyle Foster at the weapons station, looking pale. "Captain, we've spotted a ship coming out of faster-than-light travel. We don't know what kind it is, but they're charging what look like weapons." Red alert. "Shields up," Russell ordered, sitting in her command chair. "Try to talk to them." The main screen turned on, showing a lizard-like alien with rainbow-colored scales. "This is Force Collector Shard of Victory of the Hegemony. We have come to check on the Deathworld threat." Russell kept her face calm. "This is Captain Olivia Russell of the Earth Ship Defender. We are not a threat to you or anyone. We're having peaceful diplomatic talks." The lizard commander's eyes narrowed to slits. "Our spies tell us you have representatives from multiple systems on board. The strategic implications are clear. Deathworlders are forming alliances, expanding influence." "We're just talking," Russell said. "Maybe you'd like to join us?" Before the Hegemony commander could answer, the door to the bridge opened, and the alien diplomats entered, led by Patterson. "What is happening here?" demanded Shard of Victory, seeing the diverse group. A coalition already formed. Harmony of Frequencies glided forward. "No coalition. Discussion. Learning. The humans saved us. They ask nothing in return." The Verdant ambassador stepped forward, clearly shaking, but determined. "The humans are strong, yes, but they use that strength to protect. We came fearing them, but we are learning that maybe what we really feared was our own prejudice." Shard of Victory's scales flickered in what seemed like confusion. "Deathworlders protect rather than conquer? This goes against all evolutionary logic." Dr. Wells spoke up. "Maybe because our world was so dangerous, we learned early that working together is important. Alone, even a human would die to Earth's predators or weather. Together, we survived." The standoff continued for several tense minutes before the Hegemony commander finally relaxed a little. "We will watch these discussions. The Hegemony must understand this strange case. As the diplomatic talk started again, now with the suspicious but curious hegemony representatives, Russell realized that humanity's biggest challenge might not be surviving the harsh conditions of space, but helping other species overcome their fear of what humans represented. Creatures who had evolved to thrive in conditions others found nightmarish. Later that day, Russell met with her senior officers in her private meeting room. The mood was tense but excited. "So now we have 5 alien species on our ship," she said, rubbing her temples, "and at least one of them was ready to shoot first and ask questions later." "The hegemony are clearly a military power," Patterson said, "but I think Shard of Victory was genuinely confused by us. They expected conquerors and found, well, us." "What's our next move, Captain?" Wells asked. "We came out here to explore, not to become the center of an interspecies diplomatic crisis." Russell laughed without humor. "Too late for that. Earth needs to know what's happening. Diaz, I want you to prepare a full report for headquarters. Patterson, work with our guests to establish basic diplomatic protocols. Wells, keep studying their biology. The more we understand each other, the better." "And what about the hegemony?" Rivera asked. "They're still watching us like hawks, or whatever the space lizard equivalent is. We show them who we really are," Russell said firmly. "Not by words, but by actions." The next morning, the aliens gathered in what had been the ship's mess hall, now converted to a shared space where each species could exist in their own environmental bubble while still interacting. Russell watched as Dr. Rivera demonstrated basic human medical techniques to fascinated alien observers. Across the room, Patterson and Wells were learning about the Silicon Directorate's star mapping methods, while Diaz exchanged language lessons with the Verdant Conclave members. "Your kind adapts quickly," Shard of Victory said, appearing beside Russell. The hegemony commander had shed some of the previous day's aggression. "We've had to," Russell replied. "Our world didn't give us much choice." "In my culture," the commander said, scales shifting in thoughtful patterns, "the strong dominate the weak. It is the natural order. Yet you use strength to connect." "Strength isn't just about domination," Russell said. "Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is help someone else." Shard of Victory made a sound like stones grinding together, which the translator identified as their version of thoughtful contemplation. "Perhaps," the commander said finally, "the hegemony has something to learn from Deathworlders after all." That night, as the humans and their guests rested, a message arrived from Earth. The United Nations Security Council had unanimously approved first contact protocols and was sending a diplomatic team. Humanity was officially joining the galactic community. Russell looked out of her window at the stars. When she'd become a captain, she'd expected to explore strange new worlds. She never imagined that the strangest thing in space would turn out to be humans themselves, seen through alien eyes. 6 months after answering the Crystalline Collective's distress call, Earth found itself at the center of galactic attention. The United Nations Extraterrestrial Affairs Building in Geneva was packed with activity as representatives from 12 alien species gathered to sign what people were calling the Mutual Understanding Accord. Admiral Olivia Russell, recently promoted after her success with First Contact, stood beside UN Secretary General Joseph Okafor as they prepared to welcome the alien delegates. "Nervous?" Okafor asked quietly. Russell smiled. "After everything we've been through, a little, but mostly hopeful." The main doors opened and the alien representatives entered, a parade of beings so different from each other that special equipment had been built just for this meeting. Special suits, gravity controllers, and translator devices made sure everyone could join in comfortably. Harmony of frequencies led the group, having become a kind of ambassador for human-alien relations. The once damaged ship had become a turning point in galactic history. "Distinguished guests," Secretary General Okafor began, "today marks a historic day, not just for humanity, but for all spacefaring civilizations. What started as a simple act of answering a call for help has grown into a chance for mutual understanding and cooperation." As Okafor continued his speech, Dr. Samantha Wells, now the head of Earth's Xenobiology Institute, leaned toward Commander Alan Diaz, who had been promoted to head of interspecies communications. "Did you ever think this is where we'd end up when we picked up that strange signal?" she whispered. Diaz shook his head. "Never. I just thought we were doing the right thing." "And that," Wells replied, "is exactly why this is working. We weren't trying to prove anything." Across the room, the Silicon Directorate representative vibrated in conversation with Maya Rivera, who had created several medical procedures for emergency care between species. The initial fear of humans had slowly changed into fascinated respect. Even the hegemony, initially the most suspicious of human intentions, had sent a delegation led by a new representative, Balance of Powers, who had replaced the more aggressive Shard of Victory. When it was time for the human representative to speak, Admiral Russell took the stage, looking at the extraordinary gathering before her. "Friends, and I use that word with great hope and honesty, the journey that brought us together began with a call for help. It's a powerful reminder that beneath our biological differences, beyond our varied evolutionary paths, we share common needs: safety, connection, and the desire to understand our place in this vast universe." She paused, making eye contact with various delegates. "We've learned that humans evolved in conditions many of you find hostile: our gravity, our atmosphere, our biology, all shaped by a planet that demanded adaptability and toughness. But these weren't the only traits Earth demanded of us. We also learned cooperation, compassion, and the understanding that strength means little without wisdom to guide it." Harmony of frequencies moved forward slightly, their crystal form bending light in what the humans had come to recognize as a sign of agreement. Russell continued, "Some have worried that our physical abilities might make us dangerous. Others have suggested we would be valuable in emergency situations precisely because we can handle conditions others cannot. Both views have some truth, but I believe our greatest contribution won't be our physical adaptations, but rather the perspective that comes from evolving on a world that challenged us at every turn." She pointed to the Earth visible through the room's skylight. "We call Earth home, but we now understand it as a death world by galactic standards. Yet it is also beautiful, diverse, and full of life that found countless ways to thrive despite the challenges. Perhaps that is the lesson we offer the galactic community. Not that strength wins, but that adaptation, cooperation, and perseverance can transform even the most challenging environments into places where life flourishes." The Silicon Directorate representative vibrated in a pattern that the translator shared as, "The Deathworlders speak wisdom. Different paths, same destination, understanding." As the Mutual Understanding Accord was signed, setting up protocols for emergency response, cultural exchange, and technological cooperation, a small group gathered in a side room. Admiral Russell joined her former crew, Patterson, Wells, Diaz, and Rivera, along with Harmony of Frequencies. "So," Patterson said, raising a glass of champagne, "chaos happened after all." "But good chaos," Rivera added with a smile. "Creative chaos," Harmony of Frequencies chimed in, using the humanoid translator they had adopted for convenience. Without distress call, without Deathworlders answering, galaxy continues, divided by fear. Diaz nodded. "Sometimes it takes a crisis to bring people together." "Or species," Wells added. Admiral Russell looked out at the Earth shining, blue and green in the window. "We spent centuries wondering if we were alone in the universe, and whether aliens would be friendly or hostile. We never considered they might just be afraid, not of our weapons or our intentions, but of our very biology. And we never imagined," Patterson said thoughtfully, "that what we considered normal would seem so extraordinary to others." Harmony of Frequencies made a sound like crystal bells, their version of laughter. "Deathworlders still don't understand. Your normal is our impossible. Your children would survive where our warriors fear to go. Yet you use strength, not to conquer, but to protect. As the celebration continued in the main chamber, news channels across Earth showed images of the historic signing to billions of humans who were still adjusting to the reality of their place in the cosmos. No longer alone but unique in ways they were only beginning to understand. The headlines scrolling across screens worldwide captured the feeling perfectly. Earth's Deathworlders find their place in galactic community, answering distress call, changes interstellar relations forever. 2 days after the signing ceremony, Russell stood on a balcony overlooking Lake Geneva. The stars above seemed different now that she knew who lived among them. "Admiral," a voice called. She turned to see Diaz approaching with a tablet. "We just received a message from the Verdant Conclave. There's been an earthquake on one of their colony worlds. They're specifically requesting human assistance with the rescue efforts." Russell raised an eyebrow. "They want us? Not their own people?" Their message says, and I quote, "When disaster strikes, send the Deathworlders. They're built for crisis." Russell smiled. "Tell them we'll dispatch a rescue team immediately. This is exactly what the Accord was meant for." As preparations began for humanity's first official interstellar rescue mission, Russell couldn't help but feel proud. In the vastness of space, countless civilizations were coming to terms with the reality of humans, beings who breathed oxygen, drank water, and thrived under crushing gravity, yet extended a helping hand when they heard a cry for help. Deathworlders indeed, but perhaps the galaxy needed their unique perspective more than anyone had realized. Somewhere out there, among the stars, the next crisis was waiting, and when it came, Earth would answer the call. Andy.